On November 19, 2025, NASA promised a major update on the mysterious interstellar object known as 3I Atlas. The expectation was simple: clarity. Instead, the world heard the same phrase repeated again and again. It is just a comet. Despite nearly 20 spacecraft and observatories tracking the object, only a handful of blurry, low-detail images were shown. That contradiction immediately raised a question no one could ignore. Why so much reassurance and so much silence? The broadcast opened under heavy anticipation. For weeks, NASA had promoted the event as a landmark scientific moment, with fresh data from James Webb, Hubble, Mars orbiters, and ground-based telescopes across the globe. Scientists, journalists, and the public tuned in expecting answers. What followed felt strikingly different. Before presenting any data, NASA officials addressed rumors directly, insisting there was nothing artificial and nothing extraordinary to see. The phrase "just a comet" was woven carefully into their opening remarks, repeated with calm insistence. The tone was not celebratory. It was controlled. As the stream continued, the focus stayed on reassurance rather than discovery. Hosts leaned on textbook explanations, emphasizing that comets behave unpredictably and that interstellar visitors are difficult to study. Each statement sounded rehearsed, and each was padded with caution. Instead of showcasing new imagery, presenters explained why images could not yet be shown. Data was still being downlinked. Instruments required extensive calibration. Results were under internal review. The promised flood of visuals never arrived. Nearly 20 missions were listed as participants, including James Webb, Hubble, Lucy, Psyche, MAVEN, and the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. Yet the public saw only a few distant smudges. No high-resolution composites. No raw data gallery. No comparisons between instruments. Independent observatories like the Virtual Telescope project in Italy released their own images openly, making the contrast impossible to ignore. By the end of the broadcast, the gap between the scope of the campaign and the small amount revealed was unmistakable. Scientific anomalies surfaced briefly, then vanished into silence. One presenter mentioned that 3I Atlas carries an unusually high concentration of carbon dioxide, higher than any comet previously measured. The detail was dropped without discussion. Another noted a strange excess of nickel relative to iron, a pattern unseen in known comets. Again, no elaboration. A fleeting reference to unusual dust polarization hinted at unfamiliar structure, yet the topic was immediately abandoned. Even a comment suggesting the object may have formed in a star system older than the Sun passed by without exploration. A subtle deviation in its trajectory was acknowledged as well, described vaguely as non-gravitational acceleration. Such behavior can occur in comets, viewers were told, but no specifics were shared. Each anomaly was acknowledged just long enough to be noticed, then buried beneath caveats and deferrals. Questions from reporters followed the same pattern. Too early to know. Still under analysis. Awaiting validation. Whenever discussion edged toward specifics, it slowed and retreated. By the end of the event, one thing was clear. The story of 3I Atlas was defined less by what was shown than by what was withheld. When nearly 20 spacecraft observe an interstellar object and the public sees only fragments, the missing pieces begin to speak for themselves. Transparency is not just a scientific principle. It is a public trust. And sometimes, silence tells us more than any official answer ever could.